Sagittarius, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late March 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes into energy and see what's happening for the lovely Sagittarius collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for these beautiful Saggies in late March as we move on into Aries season? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Saggy in late March. What's the vibe? What's the energy for my good friends, please? There we go. Ask and you shall receive. Hey, we got our good friend here, Mr. Bookhead. Love this card. And for those of you that have been watching me for a while, you know this is one of my favorites. I love Bookhead. Just the whole costume, the whole getup, it always puts a smile on my face. And it does remind me of Page of Pentacles energy, so it's pretty nice. It's a good energy. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the March subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk about this sharp-dressed individual that we have here. The one that I like to call Mr. Bookhead, the one that I will one day copy this and do a costume or cosplay, I promise you that. So we see this young individual with a book for a hat, book for a damn necklace, books and scrolls in the arm. Very studious, right? It's a very dedicated type of energy too, and it just screams, aside from the uniqueness, that just puts a smile on my face. So for some Saggies, maybe it's something that catches your eye and you're like, oh, that's cute, that's funny. There's just something so unique about this energy. But again, it gives me Page of Pentacles, and I always say when I see pages, especially the Page of Pentacles, they represent learning. So they represent students, fresh new energy, and communication. So that's a big thing here, especially since we saw similar vibes in last week's Sagittarius reading. So there is something here about communication, writing, written communication. That's all in play. But if you're having an extra thirst for information, thirst for learning, thirst for knowledge, this card tells me now is a good time to feed the brain. Right? Like sometimes we could overdo it, but this is great for taking in information, processing information. So there's a lot of good stuff there, but we're going to let him chill out. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the beautiful Saggies. What do we got? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. So as mentioned, last week's reading did surround some sort of communication. It was titled A Surprising Talk. So to me, whether it was a conversation you weren't expecting to have, one that kind of popped in out of the blue, someone you weren't expecting to speak to, that energy could bleed over for a couple weeks. So there's this interesting highlight on communication. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for the beautiful Saggies. What do we have in late March? Let's get these cards out for my good friends. What's going on for Sag? Thank you. Cool. Hey, all right. 5 of Wands. Wasn't expecting that card to pop up. It's all good, though. These people, they're really duking it out, huh? We'll have to see what's up with them. What's their deal? What do they got? All right. Total opposite. Okay. So we got the 5 of Wands and we got the 3 of Cups. There's like a lot of mayhem. It just feels like damn mayhem. Let's get one more. Okay. Lovers. Cool. So it's a lot of stuff happening here. A lot of stuff. Totally different vibes. So hopefully this isn't like all this happening at once, because if that's the case, then this energy would be quite confusing. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, there's a lot of people showing up here this week. But you know, I always like to look at elements, so we'll break that down first. You have a nice mixture. All the fire signs had a pretty good mixture of elements this week. And I think that's important. It tells us how the energy is flowing, or frames the reading well. We have fire, water, and air. Specifically, the fire and air are very compatible with Sagittarius energy. So we're going to want to look at it. Now, when it comes to the fire, your power element, your comfort zone, that's the realm of action. So whether it's the actions you take, the actions other people take, the actions you want to take, it could speak about energy levels, health, and vitality. So things like that might be on the docket. Think of passion, drive, desire, motivation. That's all encapsulated within the fire suit. In its most positive sense, there's a lot of get up and go, a lot of motivation. On the downside, fire could be very unpredictable. Watch your energy levels in this time because some of you might be feeling a little more tired than you usually do. But there's an unpredictability to fire, but Sagis are usually good with going with the flow, rolling with the punches with it, so I'm not super concerned. But there's an explosive quality. In the center, we have the water. Now, that is usually pretty good. It's soft, it's a more subtle type of energy. It's more so about the internal realm. So, matters of the heart, personal connections, people that we care deeply for, situations that we're emotionally invested in, all that could be tied into the water. It could represent creativity. So, creative expression, creative problem solving, all that could be in play with the water. The downside to the water, it's very wishy washy, right? It could be here 1 second, gone the next. Like, so where we have like some explosive volatility here potentially, the water is just very wishy washy. So, watch out for anyone that's a little avoidant or flaky. Now, moving to the back end, we have air, the fastest moving of all the elements, whereas the water, that's matters of the heart, matters of emotion. The air is much more pragmatic, strategic, planned out. So it's like we have the heart and mind happening right there. Air is great for information. Air is great for communication. The downside to air is that it could sometimes be cold and detached, right? So watch out for that. It could also be a little harsh. So let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we're starting with the Five of Wands. And just to mention, we got all these people here, then we got the three people there, and then we got the two there. There's just a lot of people here. So watch out for any group things, and we'll talk about that more. But the Five of Wands, it's one of the cards in the deck that I always say you don't have to be an expert in tarot to understand what it means. Right? We see five people; they are literally beating the crap out of each other with sticks. They're going to war. They're going to battle. Now, you know me. I'm an optimist. We'll look at the positive side first. The Five of Wands is great for determination. It's great for effort. When I say something, I will see it through. It's can't stop, won't stop. Tons of determination. So whether there's something you're dealing with that requires determination, maybe you're feeling very determined about something, that's possible with this card. But the downside, it could be very aggressive. This could be a card of confrontation and fighting. It could represent tests or problems or situations that seem to pop up again and again and again, where it's like, okay, I clear that one thing away, then it's another thing. For some of you, this might just be people around you too. This doesn't even have to be an energy you're in. You might just be chilling, depending. So we're going to need to look and see. It's very wound up. That's the one thing I'll say about the Five of Wands. And we'll look at it. We'll see if it's a warning or a situation that you need to be aware of. Now, moving to the center, we get a totally, totally different energy here as we get the Three of Cups. And you see these people, they're raising a toast. They're having a damn good time. Now, I know this card does get a rough reputation in some tarot circles, but I always see this as a positive first. It's happiness, joyousness, merriment. These people are coming together and they're having a good time. So to me, it's like a win or a victory potentially when this card is here because people are celebrating. Now, when it comes with all threes, they could all represent group dynamics. So I'm not going to say third party this, third party that. It could represent a group of friends, family members, coworkers, you name it. Like this energy is like multiple people. It's a group dynamic. Or we could be looking at someone else's energy here. But normally I always call this a positive first. Now, the downside of the Three of Cups could be sticky group dynamics or someone in your circle we need to keep an eye on. But it could also represent excess, right? Material excess, or someone where it's like, screw it, I'm just going to do it. It's an energy that acts first, asks questions later. So there's something here that's a little excessive potentially. Now, moving to the back end, we have the Lovers. Beautiful. Big Gemini vibes. So if you're connected to Gemini, this is their power card right here. And obviously, when we see this, we think of soul ties, soul connections, one singular person that is very important to us. And I would say it doesn't have to just be a lover. This could be like just one super important person where it's like they're always with you. I love this energy. It's usually great. Notice it as the Archangel Raphael, the Archangel of Healing. So I like that it shows up here because even if you're not watching for a one on one, this energy is more so like, let's fix this. Let's make this work. Like there is this energy here that's trying to smooth things over that I really like about this. So for some Saggies, maybe you're doing a lot of problem solving or just trying to make something work here. But yeah, the Lovers, it could be someone else's energy. It could be a very strong connection. And we're going to need to look at it because for some of you that aren't watching for relationships, this is usually silky smooth, easy flowing type of energy. So it's the total opposite. So I want to dive deeper on all this, Saggy. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for my friends. What do we got, my guides? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on the Five of Wands. What's that Five of Wands here? Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Saggy, could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is the Five of Wands here? What is happening? Okay. Just feels very wild. Feels very, very wild. So we have judgment in the upright. This energy just seems to pop off. That's the vibe I'm getting here. Where it's like, why is this energy so wild? Now, this can be a warning, whether it be about a person or a situation in general, because to me it feels like a powder keg waiting to just like pop off. That's the best way I could put it. So it does feel like a bit of an explosive warning to me. Now, I will say this. Judgment is also angelic, so regardless of any trials or tribulations we see, I love that there's spiritual protection, there's spiritual insulation. That's a good thing. But judgment could represent decisions, choices, or action, and it is very, very explosive. So when I see it underneath this Five of Wands, either it's someone just act. I saw that something similar like this in the Aries reading, where it's like I act first, ask questions later. So just know in this time, Saggy, you might be quick to jump or quick to do something without even like fully consider, or someone is. Again, I'm not putting it all on you. This could be someone where they're very reactionary. So watch out for conversations that intensify really, really quick. It just feels like a hairpin trigger type of energy where it's like a powder keg waiting to go off. So I feel like this could be like an explosive warning in general. So just watch out for that worst situation that could just intensify real quick. Now, luckily, there's all this energy here of it potentially smoothing out. So maybe this is something that already happened and we're going to see how it goes moving forward. But it does feel a little wild to me. It feels a little wild and a little intense. So this does feel like a warning to me or an explosive situation. So we're going to put judgment right there. Let's keep moving over to the Three of Cups. I don't know why it's so wound tight, but it is. So let's see what's going on with that three. What's going on with that three? Okay. Okay. It's hard to sweep this under the rug. And I'm not saying that you're doing that or someone else is, but like when I see the Three of Cups with the Ten of Wands, you know when something happens and things just feel different. Like that's how this feels to me. It's like, all right, well, this happened, whatever this situation is, and it's like, yeah, we could be cordial, I could be nice, but there's like this underlying awkwardness or like unfinished aspect to something. So I think in this time, watch out for that. There is the cordial energy where it's like, okay, we're getting along, but there's still weight here. There's still unfinished business or unfinished aspects of the situation where it's like, all right, well, after this happened, things feel different. Like that's the best way I can put that. So watch out for any situation like that. And I'm a big believer that nothing is unfixable. Certain things are, very few, but there's just this residual energy or residual awkwardness that I'm feeling here. So watch out for that. Whether it's something you're feeling, whether it's someone else, what they're feeling, there's like this residual feeling where it's like, you can't just say sorry and think I'm going to put this all under the rug. Like there's still this energy that I'm feeling here. So we're going to keep going. We're going to see what the Lovers has. Maybe the energy will sort itself out in one way or another. Yeah, but there is this awkwardness, this weight, or this unfinished aspect to it, where it's like even though the energy is good, it's just very heavy. Really watch out for getting pulled into other people's stuff too. That's another thing. Like with all this, and then the Three Cups with the Ten of Wands, it's like just try your best not to get pulled into other people's vortex of issues. So let's go in with the Lovers, then we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. So very intense, very, very intense reading, a lot of specifics. Okay. So we have the Star in reverse underneath this love. Yeah, it's just something that needs to be addressed or will need to be addressed again. That's just how it feels. So the Star, big Aquarius energy, big air energy right here on the back. Lots of spiritual energy, lots of karmic energy. But the Star to me represents a long period of time. It represents hope in a brighter day, light at the end of the tunnel. So when I see the Lovers with the Star in reverse, it's like, ooh, like something needs to be addressed. Like there is still this energy. So whether it's coming from your side or somebody else's, whatever happens here cannot just get swept under the rug and act as if it never happened. There's still this unresolved aspect to it that I'm picking up. Now, for some of you, if this is something that hasn't happened, remember it's all about your perception. You don't have to manifest this in. This is just our energetic weather report. But there is like this little funkiness or energy that just feels very unresolved to me. And it will continue to feel that way. It's just something that can't get swept under the rug or just forgotten like that. It just can't. So we're going to keep moving and do a recap. Then we'll get into the shadow. Some pretty clear, concise messages. So again, only take them if they hit. But right here in the front, we start with the Five of Wands judgment. And I did say this felt like a powder keg. This felt like an energy that's just very wild and it just starts popping off. That acts first, asks questions later. So I said either this is an explosive warning or situation, something that could just intensify quickly or is just out of the blue. So watch out for that. And I do know Sagis are very good with rolling with the punches. Moving to the middle, we have the Three of Cups with the Ten of Wands, where like the energy tries to just proceed as if nothing happened, or if like we could just sweep this under the rug. But I feel like no, there's an unfinished aspect that needs to be discussed or addressed, like if we want to get back to this energy. So watch out for stuff like that, like the lingering, like try to not suppress. There's just something about it that feels different, where it's like after this happened, now things just feel different. They feel awkward. Moving to the back end, we have the Lovers with the star in reverse underneath it. Same thing as we saw right there in the center, where it's like, no, if you do want things to get back to any sense of normalcy, there are certain things that need addressing, because this energy just feels different. And there are things that happen sometimes that will change a dynamic and how it feels and how people act within it. Nothing is unfixable, but certain things can't just be avoided or swept under the rug. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you, something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going here. What do we got in the shadows for Saggy? What do we got in the shadows for Saggy, please? Thank you. Cool. I mean, it makes sense with what we're seeing. So I have the Two of Cups showing up in the shadows. And I've said it since the very beginning, where it's like, yeah, there's just a lot of people, a lot of things showing up. And the Two of Cups is very similar to the Lovers, where it represents a soul tie, soul connection, or just someone I really care deeply for, where it's like normally we're on a very similar vibrational frequency. Normally we're here, right? We always meet on a certain level, which is great. Now, for another portion of Saggies, this could just be someone's energy that could be affecting yours. So if you're the type that's energy sensitive and I see the Two of Cups in the shadows, it's like I'm feeling what they're feeling, or they're feeling what I'm feeling. It's like an energetic ping pong, where it's like they're feeling mine and I'm feeling theirs. We're like hitting energy back and forth. But I would just, again, watch out for getting pulled into other people's stuff. And there could be certain things about a very specific situation where it's like you can't just sweep certain things under the rug. Like they need to be addressed at some point. Okay, no rush. But we're just going to put that Two of Cups down right there, my beautiful friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the March subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight into your situation and you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The March calendar is live and spots go quick, so you could go check that out. But for the March subscriber surprise, we're doing another winner's choice. I will choose 3 subscribers to win either a copy of the Everyday Witches Tarot, beautiful deck, or a handmade crystal pendant, which I showcase at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, what zodiac signs do you get along best with? Which ones are your favorite? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.